One team with a 3-game winning streak and one team with a 4-game winning streak. It's the Orleans Firebirds and the Harwich Mariners for the first time here at Whitehouse Field in Harwich, Massachusetts here tonight. Hello, everyone, and welcome into tonight's game broadcast here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Why Kopelman, Devin Dobeck here with you. We're delighted to have you aboard here today. Devin, considering what the Firebirds had experienced at the start of the season versus later this week, it's a complete turning of tables right now.
Absolutely. You think them on a 3-game winning streak, nobody saw that. They were striking out left and right before that 3-game win streak started. And a 19-hit game out of one of the worst offenses in the league was something that nobody expected. So they're really taking the league by surprise. And they're really going to put Harwich to the test as they're all of a sudden a little shorthanded. It'll
be the Southpaw of Florida State and Andrew Armstrong getting his second starting nod on the season. We'll bring you today's visiting lineups for the Orleans Firebirds at 5-6 on the season, just a game back out of first place in the Cape Cod East Division standings behind Harwich. Leading off, the second baseman, number 6, Joe Oyama. Batting second, the right fielder, number 13, Fenwick Trimble. Batting third, the left fielder, number 24, Eddie Micheletti Jr., the leading batter in this season series through 2 games thus far. The cleanup hitter is the shortstop, number 35, Andy Blake. Batting fifth, the third baseman, number 11, Jack Penny. Batting sixth, the first baseman, number 8, Johnny Olmstead. The 7-hole hitter is the designated hitter, number 30, Jake Hyde. Batting eighth, the center fielder, number 14, Eddie King. And the 9-hole hitter, rounding out the starting 9 for longtime field manager Kelly Nicholson, the catcher, number 40, Henry Hunter. They're going up against Andrew Armstrong after he pitched 5 innings against Bourne. Scoreless innings through those 5 with 7 strikeouts to 2 walks as the Mariners were able to get win number 400 this season for Kelly Nicholson in their 3rd home contest of the season. And with it being first responders night here at Whitehouse Field, a large towering crane for the Harwich Fire Department looming over the fields here on the third base side. And Devin, it seems as if the home plate umpire in Arturo Belmonte is looking for that to be waved off here.
Yep, just a slight delay, but you're going to get that on First Responders Night. A really nice ceremony before the game, couple first pitches, and yeah, just nice to show some appreciation. Of course, the Red Shirt Friday to celebrate military and first responders. So Mariners in those red uniforms tonight. But yeah, should be a good one here.
So now the crane has loomed off the field here. Oyama set to dig in here. Finally ready here as Armstrong deals the first pitch, and we are underway at 6:34 p.m. That's what Armstrong brings, is that elevated fastball. He's facing the lefty Oyama, chops over towards the left side. A hard hit ball for Lavari. The Old Dominion product scoops and fires, and it's not in time. So a little bit of trouble that time of the hot corner from Kenny Lavari. We'll bring you the defensive alignment here for homestanding Harwich at 7-3 on the season. The East Division's leader right now. From left to right in the outfield, Jones, Obi, and Carrier. On the infield corners, Lavari at third and Scannell at first. Gamarillo at short, Humphrey at second. Catching Armstrong here tonight, the UNC Wilmington Seahawk in Brian Arndt. It's a leadoff base hit here for Joe Oyama as Armstrong now works out of the stretch for the first time here today. A single to third. And Orleans has its first hit on the night. This is an Orleans team, Devin, that over its 3-game winning streak is hitting .385 with 3 home runs, 22 runs scored across 3 games. Took 2 games against the Brewster Whitecaps. 41 runs total this season as Fenwick Trimble, the right fielder, quickly falls behind 0-2.
Yeah, they're finally starting to get something going. Harwich with the night off last night and a really weird rainout. It was called about an hour 20 before game time. Tom Holliday said some players were slipping last week and didn't want it to happen again.
Foul back. Stays at 0-2.
Only game that got banged last night.
The Firebirds have certainly, for lack of a better expression, caught fire in a sense. At 5-6 in the Cape Cod East standings, just a game back of Harwich for first place. Brewster down to 4-5-2 in fourth. Chatham at 3-6-1. After the Mariners won in thrilling fashion 2 nights ago here at Whitehouse Field. 0-2, Armstrong tries it again. It's fouled away. And already a good at-bat here from the James Madison product in Fenwick Trimble. He's getting the start in right field today. He played for the Winchester Royals of the Valley Baseball League at this point last summer. 22 games, hit .189, reached base just over 30% of the time here as he looks to do that just here. 0-2. Tapped foul.
Father also played basketball and football at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. It's a little tied to the first responders night here tonight.
His brother South is currently on the George Mason squad. Rising junior at James Madison, Trimble at 6'3", 200. 0-2, swing and a miss. Armstrong picks up his first strikeout and his second start on the season as there's one away here in the first.
And this is what you're going to get with Andrew Armstrong. He loves to blow away hitters. Had 7 strikeouts in his first start. He was lights out once he was able to locate his fastball, and we'll see if he can get off to a hot start here tonight.
Mariners are 6-1 this season when allowing 5 runs or less. We'll see if Armstrong is able to continue operating efficiently out of the stretch here as he faces Eddie Micheletti Jr. First, a check back over at first. Micheletti Jr. has already seen this Mariners pitching staff twice this season, both in convincing wins for Mariners over in Orleans. The umpiring crew here today, the home plate umpire is Arturo Belmonte at first base, Matthew Kane at third base is Rick Antonio. Almost no breeze here at Whitehouse Field tonight. Strike on the inner half. Armstrong certainly developing that fastball. At Florida State this season was 2-3 with a 4.19 ERA. Pitched in 58 innings, dealt 57 strikeouts. Now the runner takes off. Oyama trying to beat the throw, and he's not going to be in time. An excellent play by Brian Arndt as he nears 5 caught stealing throwdowns on the season as they're now 2 away.
Yeah, that was a gun. Really nice job to time it well. Camarillo got there in stride to lay the tag. And that's something that is really overlooked when you're a catcher, is throwing the ball to the base without someone being there. Not an easy task to do. Almost like you have to be a quarterback for a second. He did just that. They tagged the runner out, 2 away.
Well, the Mariners are going to need a deep start out of Armstrong for a scorching Firebirds hitting team at the moment. 1-1 to Micheletti Jr. outside. That time Armstrong trying to slaughter. Harwich is 3-2 when its starters get a decision this year. Meanwhile, the bullpen 4-1. First to 2-1 to Micheletti outside. 3-1 here after Armstrong only dealt 2 pitches to Oyama, who was caught stealing. Got Trimble down on 3 pitches. Serve foul down the right side. Now it's going to be a payoff pitch.
Last summer, Micheletti Jr. playing for the Mystic Schooners in the New England Collegiate Baseball League was an all-star for the club.
His dad is his biggest fan. Talked a little about his family just a moment ago. Led the team in batting average at George Washington, hits, RBIs with 48, in addition to 18 doubles. He has to protect here. Chopper over towards the right side. Scannell moving back, fires on Armstrong. He covers at the bag, and it's just in time. Armstrong, the southpaw, getting off the mound with ease that time as he faces the minimum here in the opening frame for Harwich. No runs on no hits, no errors, and none left on base. Scoreless going into the bottom of the first. This is Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. A leadoff infield single, but no runs for Orleans thus far as Harwich opens its first inning without any damage against Andrew Armstrong, the left-hander of Florida State. Meanwhile, the lineup for 20th-year head coach Steve Englert at 7-3 through the Mariners' first 10 games on the season, leading off the UMass Lowell product. At second base today, number 36, Jacob Humphrey. Batting second, the Duke product, number 24, the center fielder, Devin Obey. Batting third, number 32 of Old Dominion, the designated hitter, Hunter Fitzgerald. The cleanup hitter is number 27, the left fielder, now of South Carolina, Kennedy Jones. Batting fifth, of Miami down in the ACC, the right fielder, number 35, Lorenzo Carrier. Batting 6th, the first baseman of Princeton, number 10, Matt Scannell. Batting 7th, the third baseman of Old Dominion, number 7, Kenny Lavari. Batting 8th is UNC Wilmington Seahawk, the catcher, number 11, Brian Arndt. And rounding out the starting 9, the shortstop, number 30 of Texas A&M, Ali Camarillo. As Harwich will face Daniel Avidia, the right-hander of Grand Canyon, for the first time here on the season. At 6'4", 200, the rising junior native of Phoenix, Arizona. And Devin, he's gotten better and better through 2 seasons at Grand Canyon with that ERA.
Absolutely, and that's really encouraging to see, and that's exactly why he's landed himself in the Cape Cod Baseball League. But also, this Harwich lineup going to be a little short-handed, as I alluded to earlier. They're going to be without Seaver King and Kalen Culpepper for some time, and possibly even the season as they're with Team USA. And so we'll see how that shakes out.
Chop to the left side, Blake on a first. In time, 1 pitch, 1 out already for Avidia. The defensive alignment for Orleans at 5 and 6 under Kennedy Nicholson. From left to right in the outfield, Eddie Micheletti Jr., King, and Trimble. On the infield corners, Penny at third, Olmsted at first. In the middle infield at short, Blake at second, Oyama. The battery mate to Avidia today is Henry Hunter, who hits in the 9-hole. So a ground out here and a bunt attempt shown from Devin Obie that time. Has exhibited a lot of speed on the base pass in his first handful of games here with Harwich. I was talking to him on the way into the ballpark today, Devin. He said he's really just looking to get that bat-to-ball contact at more of a consistent basis. Was more of a reserve at Duke this season of the ACC, lost to Virginia in the NCAA tournament. But he certainly has a lot to build on going into next season under Chris Pollard. 1-1, a chopper over to left side foul.
And yeah, we've seen those flashes of light. Of course, holds the only triple for Harwich this season. He's also had a double, and he's very patient. He'll get a bunch of walks, but he also tallies a bunch of strikeouts. So I think him saying he needs to work on consistency couldn't be more accurate. But big spot in the 2-hole today for Harwich.
Just underway here in the first, nobody on. Obie at 2-2 here against Avidia. He works quickly. That one goes high. 3-2 here. Armstrong facing the minimum back in the first after a leadoff infield single from Joe Oyama. Payoff chop foul. Harwich with the most RBIs in the Cape Cod Baseball League, certainly integral for their 4-game win streak thus far, the longest win streak on the season. The Mariners commanding first place, mostly because of that. Payoff just misses on the inner half. That time Avidia tried to go with the fastball, and the Grand Canyon product just missed to Obie. 1-out walk, the first for either side here today. That sets up Hunter Fitzgerald, who hits again here in the 3-hole today. Fitzgerald with a 9-game on-base streak to start the season here for Harwich, the longest out of any member of the Mariners lineup. He has really brought a strong sense of versatility at the plate this season. The Harwich Mariners also getting a new member to their position player crew today is Ivan Arias, the Boston, Massachusetts native. Rising sophomore at Dayton. Not in the lineup here tonight, though. There's a strike. It's 1-1 here to Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald on the season hitting .323 with a .432 on-base percentage. He's been perfect in the heart of the order for Harwich.
He faces a multi-generational Firebirds pitcher. Highly tapped into the middle infield. Blake fires onto first, and that one is in time again. That moves Obie into scoring position. You know, Avidia, Devin, his older brother David played for the Firebirds in 2019, was a 4-year starter at Grand Canyon as well. Go figure, huh? The catcher played 33 games with Orleans and hit 171 with 6 RBIs. So despite them being in 2 different roles, you just see the Firebirds in the nest from year to year.
It is cool how sometimes you'll see teams do things like that. And kind of have siblings play in similar spots and kind of work through the league together.
Well, here's Kennedy Jones, who has had a field day in each of the 2 games at Eldridge Park for the Mariners, both convincing wins for Harwich. A 10-3 win on the Mariners' first road game on the season and a 12-2 win just this past Sunday on Father's Day. Jones had Harwich's first grand slam of the season in that game this past Sunday. It's hard to believe it's already been 5 days. But the Mariners now on what is a 4-game homestand with the fact that they were rained out last night. Inside. For Jones, he has been dominant not only with the hits but the walks this season. He had 2 walks against Chatham just 2 days ago here. That one high. And how about the mental toughness that Harwich had down the stretch, going to Joe Savino against Chatham? It was a 3-run ball game going into the 8th inning before the Anglers tacked on a couple of runs. And it's a scrappy Anglers team as well that just has not had a lot of stability throughout its lineup. That was something that Tom Holliday talked about earlier in the week. A video with the 3-1. Lined over towards the left side. Blake off the broken bat. A high throw over to first. And the tag is going to beat him in time. Olmsted had it covered as Avidia faces 4 in the first and does not get any damage against his card either. Harwich scoring no runs on no hits, no errors, and leaving 1 stranded. Scoreless going into the second here at Whitehouse Field. The Mariners looking to win 5 straight here, but it's scoreless for the time being on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Blake, Penny, and Olmsted due up here for Orleans. Second hacks here against the left-handed starter and Andrew Armstrong. Middle third of the order here after Orleans got a leadoff base hit from Joe Oyama. Unable to do anything with it. Andy Blake coming up here for the first time. Hacks it back. We're underway. So before break, Devin, we were just getting into the mental toughness mostly exhibited from Joe Savino down the stretch of that one. That 10th inning, he had the P1 and then the double up at third as well. That was a huge play to get Harwich into that bottom of the 10th. Tapped foul again. Returning Harwich Mariners pitcher this year. We talked about it extensively on the post-game show. He pitched a good handful of innings after Dylan Del Vecchio was able to get those outs late.
3 full.
3 full. And already had pitched a good amount to set up Gomez on that opening day. Opening day win for the Mariners. This one is skied into center field. Camping under Obi, he makes the catch. And now there are 3 straight retired by Armstrong. But just to look at what Savino develops, Harwich doesn't have a lot of southpaws out of the bullpen. But you look at Savino, what he's able to do. It almost doesn't matter if it's a right-hander or a left-hander. He set up Gomez well on opening day, and last night he closed the book up well.
The walks were a problem. Did walk 3 guys and put himself into one of the jams, but the fact was he was able to get out of it by throwing pitches, hitting his spots to get the pop-up bunt, to get the ground ball double play. He was doing all these things that were able to work out for the team, and honestly, he was the best pitcher on the team last year as he got the award for the Mariners, but you know, he's picking up right where he left off. Team high 2 wins, and yeah, not much more you can ask for from Joe Savino.
I think what is galvanizing in a sense is just how well he read that push bunt. And Chatham was looking, of course, to get that run home and take its first lead on the ball game after tying it on a walk as Armstrong misses outside the slider. The Mariners look to Ali Camadillo. He had an 0 for 4 start to the night. He walked it off with a base hit. And that was all she wrote as the Mariners picked up their 4th straight win. They're now 7-3 on the season. Outside again from Armstrong. Jack Penny, the infielder at Notre Dame, is here. Wakefield, Massachusetts native, just about 20 minutes outside of the Boston metropolitan area, rated as the #1 shortstop out of Massachusetts as he swings and misses through an off-speed pitch low, that time from Armstrong. He's retired 4 straight now as he's 1 away from getting out of the second.
Yeah, he looks exactly like we saw him back a week ago. Settling down hitters, getting ahead in counts has been a big thing for him. And once he's able to get in counts, he can waste a pitch or two and then come with his best stuff on the corners. And that's exactly what he's doing to these Firebirds hitters. So here we go.
And you know, it seems Armstrong still has yet to deal his best stuff yet. I mean, that slider was convincing on the third try there. And it's kind of a similar case with Josh Bostic as well, as catching up with R.J. Thomas, the pitching coach, before today, before the Mariners took batting practice. 1-1 here to Johnny Olmstead, the USC product, nicknamed J.O. around the Firebirds organization. And he said that Josh has certainly developed that slider. The fastball's been painted really well, grounded over towards the left side. Camarillo, a high throw over to first, and it's not going to be in time. That time, Scannell, the Princeton product, was off the bag, and there's a 2-out base runner. But he was saying that guys like Armstrong, Bostic, they are really starting to get into it, working well to this rotation, but they still have yet to throw some of their best pitches. So a lot of Mariners fans must buckle up as well, just considering what might be their next best start going into these next couple of weeks when the schedule really gets going. The Mariners don't have an off day for now a week and a half at least.
Yeah, and that's kind of the unfortunate reality of this structured way of the season going, is any rainout pretty much takes away the off days, so there's not too many nice days at least to take off because there's going to be games.
So a single to shortstop for Johnny Olmstead, and that sets up Jake Hyde, the Georgetown product, at 6'4", 205, a rising senior, already 22 years old. Darien, Connecticut native. Armstrong misses low. I can block that time by Arndt, the UNC Wilmington product. And this, I think this appears to at least be a COVID senior in Hyde, as Armstrong misses away with the slider. Seen a lot of COVID seniors in college baseball, at least some of the Power 5 conferences, because anyone back in 2020 got an extra year to that COVID-shortened season. The southpaw tries the pickoff attempt. It's still 2-1 here to Hyde. 2 away, no score in the top of the second here from Whitehouse Field. The Orleans Firebirds facing the Mariners for the third time on the season. Catches the outside corner there. It's 2-2. Hyde this season at Georgetown hit .320 in 57 starts. All Big East second team nominee. Was first in the conference in RBIs. No one in scoring position to work with him as he looks to move Olmstead into second. Fouls it down the left side. We'll do it again.
Yeah, with Jake Hyde, #1 first baseman in Connecticut, #13 prospect when he was coming out of high school that senior year.
There's a swing and a miss on another slider from Andrew Armstrong. Third punch out of the day for the Florida State product as he gets out of the second unscathed, facing 4 this time. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left aboard here for Orleans going into the home half of the second here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. We're coming back at you. All right, moving into the bottom of the second here at Whitehouse Field. No score between Orleans and Harwich thus far. Wyatt Kopelman and Devin Dobek here with you on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Andrew Armstrong, the Florida State product, off to a strong start here in his second starting nod on the season. Just a pair of hits through the first two halves for Orleans thus far. As Lorenzo Carey, Matt Scannell, and Kenny Lavari step up here. As Carrier shoots it into left field, and it's through for a base hit. And it's almost back to the wall as Carrier takes the turn around first, and he'll be moving into second sliding. The Miami Hurricanes outfielder has not disappointed here in his first handful of games in Harwich, as there's a leadoff base runner in scoring position here for the Mariners to start the second.
And that's all you can ask for out of the guy in your leadoff spot to start the inning, to just lace one right out into the gap in left center field, and then hustling to get into second. The throw from Micheletti Jr. was kind of looped in. If it was a strong throw, it might have been a bang-bang play at second, but Carrier hustling it out, and now he's in scoring position with nobody gone down.
Carrier at Miami this season, hitting .264, slugged .542. Now it's over to Matt Scannell as it backs him off the plate, and they're going to say that he hit him. So a video with the first hits batsman against him here today. It's Matt Scannell, as there are now runners on first and second here. Big opportunity for the Mariners, as they've been known for scoring early amongst this win streak.
Let's take a quick look around the scoreboard here. Katuitt on top of Falmouth 12-1, so you could say they're a little upset about blowing a 6-run lead in the ninth last night to Hyannis. First time in Cape League history that's happened. Kind of a statement game against Falmouth. YD on top of Brewster 2-0 in the bottom of the seventh. Wareham ahead of Chatham 6-1 in the bottom of the second. And Bourne on top of Hyannis 3-2 in the bottom of the third.
And Devin, you had noted it 2 days ago here, I think it was on Wednesday rather than Tuesday, how Carrier's wide strides are certainly going to help him not only outfield but on the base pass as well. Certainly didn't waste that sense of inexhaustible energy that he brings with that Herculean frame. Now it's over to Kenny Lavari as he's set up here with a silver platter against the right-hander in Avidia of Grand Canyon. Lavari back in the lineup here today. He's played 7 games thus far, hitting .263, 4 RBIs. Fastball swung on and missed. It's 0-2 here.
He's also walked 9 times. Really had his success on getting on base. A 4-walk game, a 3-walk game, and a 2-walk game for him.
Still none gone here. The 0-2. High and inside. 1-2. Lavari with a season-high 4 walks and a run scored in that 5-4 home win against Chatham. He has 7 walks over the past 2 games, as Devin mentioned, setting single-game highs for the Mariners this season each time around through a week and change here. The Mariners already playing 10. Orleans just ahead at 11.
Chatham, a team who's canceled 3 games, if you can imagine that. They've already made up, I believe, 2 of them, but 3 cancellations, crazy.
So Lavari, fan, and he goes down on strikes in his first try here tonight. 1 away in the first strikeout here for Avidia. Similar looking breaking ball for what he's gone to on that 2-strike offering for what Armstrong has dealt thus far. And now it's over to Brian Arndt, who has caught most games as of late despite the arrival of Andrew Yu from Duke. Chris Pollard's program not making it too deep into the NCAA tournament this year. Duke going to the Super Regionals, losing to Virginia. Yu off to a 1-11 start this year, but right now it's going to be up to Brian Arndt. So 6 games, 7 for 20 at the plate here. Opportunity is likely his biggest here to get Harwich its first runs on the game with only 1 away.
And this has been a spot in which he thrives when there's runners in scoring position. And Harwich coming off and out, he's been able to find a way to put the ball in play and move the runner, if not score them. Really clutch at-bats in the bottom of the lineup thus far.
Still looking for his first extra base hit on the season. That's certainly been more singles-oriented addition to the walks he's drawn. 4 walks on the season here for Arndt. Working with Carrier on second, Scannell on first after a leadoff double to left and a hits batsman. 1-2. Just misses inside. And an excellent hold that time from Arndt.
A really nice pitch as well from Avidia. Able to locate that breaking ball in the inner part of the plate, so it snapped and made Arndt make a quick decision. Unfortunately, couldn't get the strike call.
2-2. Foul away. Mariners getting a 1-out walk back in the first. Devin Obi moved into scoring position thereafter with a 6-3 ground out. Meanwhile, the Firebirds just with a hit back in the first and the second each. Armstrong off to 3 strikeouts in what's been a dominant start thus far. Orleans, meanwhile, with the 7th ERA in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Missing inside again, Avidia rather. 6th in the CCBL in fielding percentage. The Mariners, a team, meanwhile, that are leading the Cape Cod Baseball League in RBIs. They'll need one here out of Brian Arndt. Looking for his 5th RBI on the season here. Payoff pitch. Grounded to the left side. Blake on a 2nd for 1. The throw on a 1st. Not in time. So fielder's choice here for Brian Arndt. He does not bring home Lorenzo Carrier, but nonetheless, the big bopper moves over to 3rd as there are runners on the corners with 2 away.
Close play at 2nd. I'd like to see that again at some point. Looked like maybe Scannell was able to get in there, but aren't able to at least move one runner 90 feet closer. And now we'll see if Camarillo can knock him in. Last time he had a runner on 3rd in this situation, it was a walk-off hit. Another chance to give his team the lead here early on.
It was a Whitehouse win, courtesy of the new Texas A&M Aggies infielder. After a standout season at Cal State Northridge of the Big West Conference this season, as he watches one down the middle for strike 1. Hunter Henry, or rather Henry Hunter, relaying some signs here. Still no score in the bottom of the 2nd. The Mariners in the midst of a now 4-game homestand. Camarillo will have to protect here.
Just saw back-to-back fastballs right down the heart of the plate. Must be sitting on an off-speed pitch because these have been looking good to hit.
Hit .371 at Cal State Northridge this season in 46 games. Big chance for another RBI here. 0-2. Check swing. First base umpire Matthew Kane says no.
Orleans really wanted the call. I didn't think it was even relatively close, but they must have seen something different. Kelly Nicholson, of course, the best angle in the house over by the Orleans dugout in the first base line.
Big spot here for Harwich to climb ahead first. 1-2. Shot out towards right center field. 2 going back in King and Trimble. Trimble fights off the sun and makes the catch for the loud final out of the 2nd inning. So the Mariners this time bring 5 to the plate. They score no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and leave 2 stranded. Going into the 3rd here at Whitehouse, no score between 2 East Division rivals in the Harwich Mariners and the Orleans Firebirds. This is Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. All right, so the Mariners strain 2 on the corners as we move into the 3rd inning here at Whitehouse Field. Wyatt Kopelman, Devin Dobeck here with you on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Eddie King, Henry Hunter, and Joe Oyama, 8-9-1 hitters, due up here against Andrew Armstrong. Gave up a hit back in the first and the second here. Orleans winning 3 straight. 2-4 at home, 3-2 on the road. A better hitting team on the road as well, despite hitting .385 across its winning streak. Beat Brewster twice. And right now looking to get where the Mariners have gotten, which is 4 straight wins. Quickly 2-0 here to Eddie King. Two and one. King Jr., the Louisville product, native of Linwood, Illinois, just a suburb of Chicago, just about 4 hours north of Louisville. 2-2 now here from Armstrong.
Typically, we've seen Eddie King at the top of the order for the Firebirds in the previous couple games against Harwich, but now at the bottom, he's really struggled against the Mariners.
Swing and a miss. Armstrong with a breaking ball once again. 4th strikeout here for the Florida State product, as he's now retired 4 of the last 5 he's faced.
Really starting to get in the zone, and as long as he's able to stay out of jams and keep his pitch count down, this could be some real special outing we're about to see. He's been fantastic thus far, as has most of the Mariners starting pitching. The bullpen is where it's gotten a little dicey, and Armstrong looking to live up to that reputation.
First pitch, a strike to Henry Hunter, the catcher here today. Orleans, last in the Cape Cod League in RBIs. That's something that it will continue to have to find room to improve in. Armstrong misses low. Hunter, the catcher of Alabama Birmingham, originally committed to Samford before flipping to UAB after his senior year. Grew up in Snellville, Georgia. That one outside. He was ranked as the number 6 Conference USA Impact first-year freshman ahead of last season. As a sophomore this year, hit 166, 21 RBIs. 3-1, taken for a strike. Count runs full. Been a big characteristic thus far, Devin. Armstrong being able to battle back. Has been in multiple even counts at 2-2. We'll see how he does here. And he deals a swing and a miss. 3rd straight strikeout from Armstrong. A slider had Henry Hunter out in front as there's 2 away.
Beautiful pitch that time. Breaking ball that looked like it was going to be just a changeup down the middle and then snapped way off to the outer part of the plate. Made the hitter look really uncomfortable, and Henry.
None on here for Oyama. Lofted out towards right center field. It's dropping quickly, and not too quickly for Devin Obie as he loses the hat on the way. An excellent play that time from the Duke outfielder as Armstrong sends them down in order. A pair of strikeouts and a flyout to end the top of the 3rd here. No score going into the home half of the 3rd at Whitehouse on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Top of the order due up for Harwich, looking to get on the board first here at Whitehouse Field. Harwich took a 4-1 lead going into the 8th inning 2 nights ago here at Whitehouse Field against what was a 3-5-1 Chatham Anglers team. Jacob Humphrey, the UMass Lowell product, rockets one out towards right field. It's hooking just foul.
And that would be a real threat if it fell in. Humphrey's got the most speed on the team. He arguably could have had a bid at third base had that stayed fair, but we'll have to climb back in, try it again. He's another guy similar to Obi. Granted, he's been here much longer, but you're either going to get a great game from him where he's on base 4 times, or he's going to have 3 strikeouts and a ground out. Like, Humphrey's just still trying to find his consistency here, but a great leadoff hitter nonetheless.
You're definitely right. Humphrey this time lofts one out towards left field. Micheletti Jr. giving chase, as this time it leaves and just gets into the glove of Micheletti Jr. Well, it certainly left fair territory, but it didn't leave the fence as there's one away here in the 3rd.
And he kind of overran that. Nice job by Micheletti Jr. to recover as he was running towards the fence, thinking he'd have to reach over, and then had to reach back as it stayed in. And across his body, he's able to make the play. Really nice catch that time.
Mariners were all over the outfield as Obi skies it into center field, and it's down for a base hit. One out base hit here for Devin Obi after earning a walk back in the 1st. When we were at Orleans last, you and I, we certainly saw a lot of extension from Lorenzo Carrier in addition to Jacob Humphrey all over the outfield. That time Micheletti Jr. perfectly replicating it for an acrobatic play to start off the bottom of the 3rd here. Hunter Fitzgerald now up here, the Margate, Florida native at Old Dominion, a team that just left Conference USA 2 seasons ago. Just played at just played in the Sun Belt Conference this past season. A team that hit a lot of home runs for that conference as well, finishing the top 3 in the long ball. Humphrey has certainly had his chances, Fitzgerald as well, at the plate this year. Scoreless with one away here in the bottom of the 3rd from Whitehouse. Wind has not picked up yet. Fitzgerald swings through a fastball. He'll have to protect here.
I'm not used to seeing Harwich not get on the scoreboard early in quite some time. They've scored in the first third of the ball game, I believe, through all 4 of their games on the homestand.
And even at Catuit.
Winning streak, rather.
Yeah, you think back to that come-from-behind victory at Catuit. 9 unanswered runs. I believe had a couple of runs in that 3rd inning as well. Mariners have turned up the scoring at home this season as well. Grounded foul. The only exception, and it's the Mariners' lone home loss of the season through 10 games, was when they lost to Falmouth 2-1. Got a great start out of Tom Chmielewski that game, but late game RBIs were not a factor. 1-2, fouled away. Obi on first, one away here. Fitzgerald staying in this at-bat against the Grand Canyon starter in a video. Check back over at first.
Close, really close over. Obi lucky to get back in there safely.
It's been a standout trait for him thus far in his first few games here as a Mariner. 1-2 from the video. Swing and a miss. Fitzgerald a little bit out in front that time. 2 away.
Second strikeout for him. He's had a much more interesting way to get through these 2 2/3 as opposed to Armstrong. Armstrong relying on the strikeout, whereas a lot of ground ball outs for Avidia. Gets his second there, and now just needs one more to get out of the inning.
Got all ground outs in the first to get the Mariners gone. That's over to Kennedy Jones. Fitzgerald falls to 0 for 2 despite a team-best 9-game on-base streak to start the season. Entered today with the 12th best batting average in the Cape Cod League. Spiked back. 1-1 here to Jones. New South Carolina commit. will certainly serve the Gamecocks of the SEC quite well next season. He served the Mariners quite well with their unleashed hitting attack each time out at Eldridge Park against the Firebirds this season. Good take that time from the former UNC Greensboro product. He's ahead in the count here. 2-1. Lofted out towards center field. King going back to the warning track, and he makes the catch. Certainly needed some distance there, but nonetheless, Harwich brings no more than 4 to the plate here again in the third. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left stranded. Scoreless after the early innings. We'll be back right at you here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Still no score here in the top of the fourth from Whitehouse Field. The Mariners at 7-3 on the season. The Firebirds entering at 5-6 with a 3-game winning streak. The Mariners at 4 straight 1. Fenwick Trimble, Eddie Micheletti Jr., Andy Blake, the 2-3-4 hitters due up here against Andrew Armstrong of Florida State. Back over to my broadcast partner in Devin Dobeck for the play-by-play.
Thank you, Wyatt. First pitch now to Trimble is going to be a breaking ball that misses outside. 1-0. No score here. 2 hits aside, and someone trying to find a way to break through 2 offenses that have really picked it up as of late that have been held quiet here. A pitching duel between Avidia and Armstrong. 2-0 count to Fenwick Trimble. He was the first strikeout victim of Andrew Armstrong. 2-0 is going to be laced down into deep center field. Going back is Obi chasing it. It's over his head, down into the wall on a few bounces. He'll have to pick it up. Rounding second, headed for third is Trimble. And he's going to get there with a slide. Although the play not that close. A bomb, something you don't see too often, a triple to center field. But some great hustle that time, and now the Firebirds 90 feet away from putting a run on the board.
Well, we talked about the hitting being relatively absent. Only 4 combined hits leaving the early innings for these 2 squads. Devin and Trimble didn't waste any time against the southpaw.
Big piece of hitting for him that time. And so, still nobody away for Eddie Micheletti Jr. First pitch he sees, he wraps foul off to the right, and it's 0-1. Runner on third is Trimble. And the pitch. Bounced in the dirt. Really nice stop by Arndt to keep the run off the board for the time being. So it'll be 1-1. Micheletti Jr. grounded out to first back in inning number 1. 1-1 pitch is going to be laced into the gap in right center field. Going back is Obi, long run for him, and it gets over his head again. Micheletti rounding second. He's going to hold up. And it's going to be an RBI double. Back-to-back bombs to center field. They are teeing off of Armstrong currently, and it's 1-0 Orleans.
Well, Orleans entering today with the least RBIs in the league, and that was a concern about how they would get the bats going against Andrew Armstrong, who pitched so dominantly. And sometimes for Harwich pitching at times this season, Devin, when it rains, it pours with the extra base hits.
It does indeed. Andy Blake's turn. flew out to center back in the second. Firebirds are off to a 1-0 lead. Blake on the season hitting .333. That's 7 for 21 coming into today. Hitless in the ball game. Still searching for his first. As 1-0 is the count. Armstrong kicks and delivers 2-0 inside.
Orleans still under 500 this season, Devin, and when you feel that sense of urgency to get more run production going, especially with the RBIs, Orleans just 41 runs entering today, the second least, but a nice job that time by Micheletti Jr. not blowing the stop sign.
Now this one's going to be lined out. Nice catch by Kennedy Jones, a sinking liner. He had to get low and was able to haul it in for the first out. Really nice play that time to save another run and another extra base hit. That would have been some real trouble had it fell.
Harwich has blown a couple of opportunities early here to get on the board. You get 2 on the corners in the second, what was a prime opportunity, and a fly out. And right now, Orleans just finding a little bit of extra zip on that baseball.
Jack Penny's turn. Second strikeout victim of Armstrong. Shows bunt, pulls it back, and it's in there for a strike. 0-1. Penny out of Notre Dame. Hit .222 coming into today. As Armstrong checks the runner and the pitch. Misses outside, and it's 1-1. On deck, Johnny Olmstead. He has a hit for the Firebirds here today. As the pitch from Armstrong. On the outer part of the plate, 50-50 pitch, and it goes in favor of the Firebirds, 2-1. First real chop that Armstrong has hit here in his outing into the 4th inning. As the next pitch misses outside, 3-1. I believe he went 6 innings in his first start. Tallied those 7 strikeouts, was fantastic. Still has been great here tonight. 5 strikeouts to complement just 4 hits, 1 earned run. But Orleans threatening here. 3-1. Misses outside. It's a 5-pitch walk. And now runners at first and second for Johnny Olmstead.
Yeah, last thing you want to see is a spiking pitch count here. Andrew Armstrong in his last outing in that rain-abbreviated game against Bourne, pitching those 5 scoreless innings. So he allows his first runs on the season here. I think R.J. Thomas just going to have a couple words with him about mechanics here. Definitely doesn't seem like he's going to be pulled relatively soon, at least within the inning, despite Harwich having someone warming up on the left side.
So they'll sort that out. But, yeah, the Harwich offense has to get going. Still just 2 hits through 3 innings. Plenty of time to get it back, though. They only trail by 1 as of now. But 2 on and 1 away now for Orleans. As they head into the lower part of their lineup, they are threatening.
You're facing very threatening Orleans lineup, as you said. And what Tim Noon did in his last start, he gave 3 earned runs to Katuitt early on, but was able to work around. He pitched 4 innings still, didn't strike out anyone. They gave it over to Jacob Gomez. So you start with a lefty here. I wonder if the Mariners do elect to go to a righty for a right-handed filled Orleans lineup for the most part.
Armstrong comes set, in a little trouble. First pitch to Olmstead. Misses low for a ball, 1-0. Olmstead was able to drive a single in the second inning. Broke up a chain of 4 straight retired by Armstrong at the time. 1-0 count. And here comes the pitch. Swing and miss right over it. Nice pitch that just dropped off at the last second in front of the plate, and it's 1-1. Once again, Armstrong taking his time, changing the cadence, and he fires a strike right on the outer part of the plate. Nice fastball there to freeze Johnny Olmstead, member of University of Southern California, a Trojan. Number 19 shortstop out of California coming out of high school. Swings and misses right over a nasty breaking pitch. Strikeout number 6 for Armstrong. And so there will be 2 away.
He's gotten out of some deep counts, hasn't been the most efficient in particular batters faced, despite only dealing 3 pitches for 2 extra base hits to start the 4th. But you get 6 strikeouts already here, despite dealing just about 50, rather 60 you're off to a good start.
First pitch to Jake Hyde's in there for a strike. Hyde, the third strikeout victim of Armstrong, back in the second inning. He digs in from the left side, a chance to pad the Orleans lead a little bit early on in the ball game. 0-1 pitch on the outer part of the plate. 0-2. So Armstrong one pitch away from getting out of this mini jam he's put himself in. Has only surrendered the 1 run, which is great considering it was a triple and a double to start off the inning. Next pitch misses down low. And you also got to tip your cap to Kennedy Jones, as he was able to make a diving catch out and left that kept the runners where they are without advancing. Ball and 2 strikes. Here comes the pitch. This is going to be lifted out to center field. Going back is Obi, but seems to be in control, and he has it for out number 3. So Armstrong surrenders a pair of hits, but just the 1 run. Mariners will take it. They need to get the bats going. Coming back in the home half of the 4th on the other side, you're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Hello and welcome back to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. The Mariners down in the top half of this game, down 1-0 after that half inning by the Orleans Firebirds. The Harwich Mariners need to get the bats going, and there's no better duo in the league for RBIs than Matt Scannell and Kennedy Jones. With 22, expect them to get the bats hot. Steve Engler is relying on them, and so is the team. That is the batting update.
And we're back. That's our producer, Sean Sears. He'll be doing a little half-inning shtick now and then, as it'll be 0-1 now to start Carrier. We're going to have to work on our transition, getting in and out of the chair, but nonetheless, I think pretty good debut. No balls, 2 strikes now to Lorenzo Carrier. He's 1 for 1 on the day with a double. He chops this one. I'm not sure if they're going to rule it fair or foul. Carrier seems to have caught it off the foot, so it'll be a foul, and we stay at 0-2.
And just by the way he got out of the box that time, seemed to be experiencing a little discomfort. A relatively hard hit ball off the cleat. Pink cleats as well. Take a look at that. Pink cleats with a red jersey.
Gotta love that. No balls, 2 strikes to Carrier, as that one misses just high. Arguably could have rung him up on it. Due to the size, it looks like that one would have been just below the letters from our point of view. 1-2 pitch. And they'll ring him up that time. That one looked to be a little worse than the one before, but Carrier sent down on strikes. That'll be strikeout number 3 for Avidia. And he is in complete control out there on the mound. Still not surrendering any runs and just 2 hits to this Harwich offense.
You know, Devin, when you have someone like Carrier with his frame and how that can be challenging to a home plate umpire in addition to Avidia to come to him, it just makes it difficult. And then you add the factor that he's a slugger, so he's going to be able to swing through that as well. And that determines a very different strike zone than someone with a shorter frame like a Jacob Humphrey or even maybe a Matt Scannell. But it differs a little bit between those two.
2-0 to Scannell. Next pitch is going to be in there for a strike on the outer part of the plate. 2-1. Scannell was hit by a pitch in the second, and then the victim of a fielder's choice ground out by Brian Arndt. As swings right on top of that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes to the Princeton Tiger. Vidya comes set and delivers. That one just misses. Scannell almost rung up that time, but it's 3-2.
Just a very celebratory ending to Wednesday night for Scannell. Pinch running.
Payoff pitch. Misses for ball 4, and so Scannell on for the second time tonight with one away.
It's something he's begun to develop well, just being able to read pitches, force guys deep into counts, especially when you're looking to spike the pitch count of a Vidya. Scannell now up to 5 walks on the season.
In comes Kenny Lavari. He struck out looking back in the second inning. See what he can do against Avidya in his second AB. Avidya has been really locked in. Faced 4 batters in the first, 5 in the second, 4 in the third, and 1 away here in the fourth as this one's fouled off. And so it'll be 0-1. Brian Arndt on deck. Mariners trailing by 1. They haven't been trailing too much as of lately, so probably interesting feeling for them. That one's dropped in there at the letters to make it 0-2. Over on first is Scannell, the pitch. In there! Lavari rung up for the second time today. He can't believe it. Slow to get out of the box. It'll be second strikeout of the inning and 4th of the ball game for Avidya.
It's been a tough start here tonight for Lavari. Now 6 strikeouts on the season. Hits have not been too easy to come by for him, but there are 2 away here as Harwich really needs to get a runner in scoring position with it already teetering into the middle innings here.
Brian Arndt's turn. Grounded into a fielder's choice back in the second. First pitch to him is going to be popped into foul territory, making a run at his Olmsted into shallow right field. He dropped it. I'm not sure how they're going to rule this because he touched it in foul territory and it fell fair after it hit the glove. They're going to call it a foul ball, but not something you see every day.
And it might not be ruled like that in every league either, given that he was on the right field line. I don't think they're going to give him an error, but it was awfully close to being an opportunity for a reach on an error.
Really awkward basket catch as Olmsted was moving into foul territory, was running right, was meaning to go left, and pickoff attempt not successful. Oh, and 1 to Arndt. As here's the pitch. It's going to be grounded over to the shortstop, Blake. He'll go to second, take the easy one, and that will be out number 3. So the Mariners, despite the walk from Scannell, can't move them at all. 1-0 Orleans headed to the 5th. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Night is over for Andrew Armstrong. He goes 4 complete innings, allows 4 hits, 1 earned run, strikes out 6, and walks 1. Devin Dobek, Wyatt Kopelman along with you. His call to the bullpen will be Aiden Moza, just arrived here from Alabama, the Dallas, Georgia native, 6'4", 228 pounds. And he'll get set to go here. This past season with the Alabama Crimson Tide went 3-1 with a 3.09 ERA. Appeared in 14 games, all in relief, 23 1/3 innings, 23 strikeouts to 9 walks, and he surrendered 18 hits. Really excited to see what he can do. Big addition to this Harwich bullpen. As we'll get a pinch hitter for Eddie King to start things in the 5th.
It's going to be Jay Casey not getting the start today.
First pitch to Jake Casey's going to be in there for a strike. Moza, rising junior for the Crimson Tide. As this first pitch is going to be caught by Matt Scannell, a leaping grab over at first base to take a base hit away from Jake Casey. Mariners will take that. Great way to start the 5th for Moza.
Yeah, when you have the defense behind you, Scannell scoring as a pinch runner in that walk-off win, very exciting for him. And that time, just climbing a ladder, an excellent play to prevent that one from being a leadoff hit.
So new batter is Henry Hunter, the catcher in the 9 spot. Moza fires a fastball by him, foul tipped actually, and so it'll be 0-1. As next pitch from Moza misses high, 1-1. Moza pitched 5 1/3 combined innings through 2 games of the NCAA tournament. 1-1 pitch is going to be an ugly looking swing that time from Hunter. Hunter struck out back in the 3rd inning, up for the 2nd time here today. 1-2 pitch, cut on and missed, down he goes. First strikeout for Moza in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and there's 2 away quickly.
Yeah, 23 strikeouts just to 9 walks this season, something he managed really well. For an Alabama team that was just a little outmatched by Wake Forest in a pair of games in that Winston-Salem Super Regional, but, I mean, Wake Forest really took LSU down the wire as well. I think that speaks a lot more about the lineup talent.
Joe Oyama's turn. He's 1 for 2 on the day. Singled to lead off the game before he was caught stealing by Brian Arndt, and then he flew out to center field. He's ahead in the count 1-0 against Moza, looking to set down the Firebirds in order. That has only happened once tonight, and it came back in the 3rd. 2 balls and no strikes, a hitter's count to Oyama. Next pitch, cut on and missed. Big swing from Oyama, almost stepped out of it, and it's 2-1.
Final line on the left-handed starter, Andrew Armstrong, used 4 innings full, 1 earned run, 4 hits, a walk, and a strikeout. Rather, 6 strikeouts.
Next pitch misses up high, 3-1. Native of Okinawa, Japan. That's called the Hawaii of Japan, actually. 3-1 pitch is going to be lifted out into left field. Long run for Kennedy Jones out towards the warning track, and he hauls it in. Kennedy Jones showing off the range as he flips that ball to the fans. And that is how the top of the 5th ends here. 1-2-3 they go. Aiden Moza hitting the ground running here at Harwich. 1-0 Firebirds will be back for the home half. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. 9-1-2 for the Harwich Mariners. Ali Camarillo, Jacob Humphrey, and Devin Obi. Night is over for Avidia, and good thing for the Mariners. They struggled against him. He went 4 innings, allowed just 2 hits, no runs, struck out 4 and walked 2. Derek Clark will be the new wing. Clark on the season, a native of Petersburg, Michigan, 5'8", 185 left-hander out of Northwood University. He's 1-0 on the season with a 1.35 ERA across 2 appearances. He's gone 6 2/3 innings, 6 hits, just 1 earned run, struck out 7 and has walked 2. He has been a weapon. As second pitch from Camarillo is grounded over to third. Play from Penny is there in time for out number 1. 2 pitches, 1 out to start off Derek Clark.
You get 7 strikeouts out of your pitching staff thus far, but Harwich has fallen victim to a mixture of ground balls and strikeouts as well. The Mariners entering today with the leading numbers in RBIs this season, but right now Mariners have only had 2 runners in scoring position today.
Defensive changes for the Firebirds as Jake Casey heads out to center field as he came in to pinch hit for Eddie King. Count is 1-0 to Humphrey, and now 2-0. Tell you one thing about Clark we've learned, he spends no time, he doesn't waste any time, out on that bump. He seems to get into his motion pretty quick. Fast worker. 2 balls and a strike to Humphrey. The pitch. Bounced in the dirt. 3-1. And if you're Orleans, Humphrey, not a guy you want to let on base, leads the team with 3 stolen bases early on this season, and he can fly. Could steal second and potentially third if he gets walked on here. 3-1 pitch coming from Clark. In there for a strike on the inner part of the plate, up at the letters, and it's 3-2. Devin Obi on deck. He's been on base twice. Payoff pitch. Misses low. And there's Humphrey trotting down to first base. He will be in there with a walk with 1 away.
A sense of urgency that you have to have if you're Harwich here. The Mariners this season are 6-1 when allowing 5 runs or less as a pitching staff. Your batting lineup, your guys in the order, you have a lot of power hitting, contact hitting. You have to be able to reciprocate and give your pitchers some help.
Pickoff attempt unsuccessful as Humphrey's back in there, but as we mentioned, he can run, so definitely want to keep him close. Luckily, Clark a lefty, so going to be tough to get a jump on him. Big swing by Obi, and he's behind in count 0-1.
And Kennedy Jones, the leading hitter in this series thus far through 2 games, has been quieted. Someone else has to step up. You don't want to be leaving 2 on for the first or 6 or even 8 innings to the point where you're looking at that 1-0 deficit going into the 9th.
No balls and a strike to Obi, the pitch. Dropped in there to make it 0-2. Nice breaking ball that started high and dropped in. Dangerous pitch on the outer part of the plate, but Obi laid off and luckily worked out for Clark. Humphrey almost got caught leaning that time over at first, but he's back in there without a slide. So difficult to time those lefty moves. You don't know if they're going to the plate or over to first base. 0-2. There goes Humphrey, and Obi lines it into left field for a base hit. Humphrey in stride, heading towards third. The throw will not be in time. A perfectly executed hit and run. Devin Obi, 3rd time on base for him. Really nice piece of 2-strike hitting. And now there's runners at the corners with 1 away for Hunter Fitzgerald.
Obi struggled in his debut just a few nights ago as the Mariners got this 4-game parade going, and he has not wasted any time just making adjustments. You could tell how quick he is to the ball through the zone. It was left a little bit high. The Mariners draw it perfectly for a hit-and-run opportunity. They have runners on the corner still with 1 away. The Mariners are 5-1 when they're out hit by their opponents this season. They feel that urgency right now, Devin.
They will absolutely take it. Now Fitzgerald, a guy who's known for putting the ball in play. Cuts and misses at the pitch to make it 0-1, but was received high praise at Old Dominion from his coach, who said he's a guy who doesn't strike out and can hit the ball just about anywhere. As Obi back into first safely, so we'll see if he can do that. RBI opportunity for him, and a chance to tie this game or maybe break it open. Obi some speed too over at first. The pitch. Fitzgerald, an uncomfortable looking swing, got jammed inside, and it's 0-2. On deck is Kennedy Jones. He could be put to the test here. As you mentioned, the hottest hitter in this series thus far. 0-2. This is going to be lined into right field for a base hit. In to score is Humphrey. Obi taking a turn and hanging out at second. And it's an RBI single for Fitzgerald. The Mariners have knotted the game up at 1.
This is exactly what they needed. They needed Hunter Fitzgerald to find his pitch to the zone. He sat back on that, and he took it high and just popped it right into right field. It was a great dump hit that time. Again, the Mariners 5-1 when out hitting their opponents, and they've evened it up there.
And a lot of credit you got to give to Obi and Fitzgerald. They become behind in the count, 2 strikes on them, and they've been able to change their approach and both back-to-back singles. Really nice job there, and still not done. First pitch, Kennedy Jones misses inside. It's 1-0. Jones is grounded out to the shortstop and flied out to center. 0 for 2 on the day, still searching for that first hit. Had a fantastic game against Chatham as he pops this one way up towards shortstop. Andy Blake calling for it, and he's got it for out number 2.
It's a tough way to break up that sense of hitting momentum, especially with Lorenzo Carrier coming up, the infield fly rule in effect that time. And for Carrier, still has a silver platter to work with here, Devin. 4 hits apiece, 1 run apiece. Teams have been clean in the infield thus far. We'll see who might crack first here.
Carrier doubled to lead off the second, but the Mariners couldn't get him home. Despite it being first and second, nobody away, Carrier ended up being stranded at third base. He's behind in the count 0-1. Chance to give Harwich their first lead of the night. Got a really strong part of the order up right now. 0-1 to Carrier. Big swing and a miss. Almost fell over the plate on the follow-through. And now he's going to have to protect 0-2. Clark trying to get out of this mini jam he's found himself in. 4 hits aside, 1 run aside. The pitch. Misses low and in, 1-2.
Might I say, you've also gotten nearly identical starts. Your Kelly Nicholson, your Steve Engler. You've gotten 4 innings out of your guys. Didn't really have to pull them too early.
It's a ball and 2 strikes to Carrier. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Throw will have to come down to first, but it will be in time. Score that a K2-3 as Carrier is retired. First strikeout for Derek Clark, but the Mariners tie it thanks to 2 hits and a run. Humphrey coming all the way over from first after the walk. And so we sit at 1-1, headed to the 6th frame. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Fenwick Trimble, Eddie Micheletti Jr., and Andy Blake due up for the Firebirds as this game has just been knotted up once again. Lights coming on here at Whitehouse as the temperature drops just below 70. One of the best nights we've had thus far early on at the ballpark. Of course, still waiting for it to warm up here on Cape Cod. First pitch to Trimble in there for a strike. Trimble struck out swinging in the first before tripling and coming around to score the only run for the Firebirds thus far on a shot to center field. This is the same group that started off the 4th inning in 2-3-4 and trying to have a little more success at the plate against Aiden Moza. 1-1 pitch. Caught on and missed. Checked his swing, but definitely went around, and it's 1-2.
Yarmouth Dennis ahead of Brewster 2-0 in the top of the 9th. More East Division implications there. Wow. Brewster hanging tight.
1-2 is going to be chopped over to third base on a hop for Lavari. He goes to first, and it'll be a 5-3 putout for out number 1.
The Bourne Braves ahead of the Highness Harbor Hawks 7-2 in the 4th frame. Meanwhile, the Wareham Gatemen ahead of the Chatham Anglers 6-2. Gatemen have started to pick it up a little bit. Hyannis in 2nd place entering tonight, meanwhile. Still a long way to go in that game against Bourne.
Now it'll be Eddie Micheletti Jr.'s turn. He had a double to drive in Trimble. He also made a great catch out in left field over by the foul territory wall. And this will be a 1-1 count to him. Andy Blake on deck. One away here in the 6th. Checked his swing, but he absolutely went around that time. 1-2. Moza seems really locked in. He's faced the minimum 4 through 1 1/3 thus far. Also doesn't waste too much time. That one just missed on the outer part of the plate. Arndt wanted the strike 3 call, didn't get it. Moza does have the 1 strikeout that came back in the 5th. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch. Misses up high. Micheletti Jr. staying alive, and he's worked the count full. Payoff. Right down the middle. Micheletti Jr. just froze as that slider dropped right into the zone. And that will be strikeout number 2, the first looking for Moza. And there's 2 away here in the 6th.
Great command of the zone thus far from Moza. His tempo is certainly helping him here. Certainly pitching to a pitch clock as if there was one.
Andy Blake's turn. He's flied out twice, once to center, once to left. He's got that tall frame that stands in the right-hand side. 6'4", 200 pounds, a rising 5th-year senior at Duke. 1-0. It's going to be popped up. I'll make it 1-1. It's times like this you wish you had Andrew Yu behind the plate. Of course, someone who's a teammate at Duke with Blake and would be able to know his strengths and weaknesses back there as far as locating pitches.
Sure, they'd also just say hello.
There you go. 1-1. Cut on and miss. And it's 1-2. Brian Arndt's called a fine game, though, here tonight. Do not get me wrong with that. Just obviously the more familiarness from college teammates. 1-2. Right in there. On cue. Back-to-back strikeouts looking for Moza. He is locked in here. 1-1. We head to the home half of the 6th. Mariners coming back up, looking for offense. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. And we're back here, home half of the 6th. Devin Dobeck, Wyatt Kopelman along with you. Beautiful night here in Harwich. Nice crowd as, of course, school letting out more and more people making their way down to the 508. And enjoying a beautiful night of baseball between these East Division opponents. Be 6, 7, 8 due up for the Mariners. Scannell, Lavari, and Arndt, the only 3 batters who didn't come up in the 5th. As it'll be 1-0 now to Scannell. Leads the league in runs batted in with 12. He's been fantastic for the Mariners. It's a ball and a strike now to the Princeton Tiger. Today, Scannell has not recorded an at-bat, hit by a pitch, and he's walked as well. That one misses inside, 2-1. Mariners were able to tally a run after Jacob Humphrey came around to score in the 5th, but looking to create their first lead of the ball game here, as Scannell now even in the count 2-2. Derek Clark back out there after a rocky 5th. 2-2 is going to be lifted out to center field. Going back a couple steps is Casey, now settling under it, and he puts it away for out number 1. I'll tell you what, if we're playing at Red Wilson Field tonight, Wyatt, we might have seen 4 home runs, 2 from Orleans and 2 from Harwich early on here.
Well, I'll tell you something else, Devin. With the clock striking 8 o'clock, I don't know if we'd be seeing much more baseball here tonight. Have you thought of that? Because they don't have lights there.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
But
well, then we'd have an abbreviated high-scoring game.
An abbreviated high-scoring game. Well, I will tell you this. For Scannell, he's been on a 4-game hitting streak. He's been...
As this one's grounded over to the shortstop, Blake. He gathers, fires onto first. Low throw, but there in time. Lavari retired for the 3rd time tonight.
Yeah, just as I was about to say, Scannell has been very efficient with the hitting that he's provided in the middle of this lineup for Harwich, for the most part, with 6 combined hits across this 4-game stretch, Devin. But you consider how he flied out that time. You're sort of just looking to get on the board with a hit first time in 3 tries instead of flying out. You kind of look for those pitches to be able to drive into the power rallies. And as you said, you might have already seen a home run by that time at Red Wilson.
First pitch to Arndt. Misses high for a ball, and yeah, center field only like 350 at Red Wilson Field. Of course, that's where the Mariners' first homer came, and it was off the bat of Matt Scannell to center field. Arndt lifts this one high and deep out to left field. Going back is Micheletti Jr. turning at the wall. Goodbye, Brian Arndt. His first home run of the Cape Cod Baseball League season. A bomb out to left field, a no-doubter off the bat, and he gives his team the lead 2-1. Mariners, first one at Whitehouse Field this season, Wyatt.
And isn't it funny how we were talking about how Arndt was still lacking that extra base hit? He's had timely RBI hits at times this season. He's worked his way on base by the walk, and that time he left a no-doubter over the fence.
A bomb from Arndt gives Harwich the lead. They've tallied 3 hits against Clark in just 1 2/3 innings. They only had 2 against Avidia in his 4 innings, so really starting to see the bullpen well. And Clark, a guy who came in with an ERA just above 1. And the Mariners have already tagged him for 2, not even 2 innings in. 0-1 to Camarillo. Misses inside, and it's 1-1. So finally a home run at Whitehouse. It only took 11 games to happen. As that one will make it 1-2. I don't think an opponent has homered either at Whitehouse. I think that was the first home run we've seen at the ballpark, not even just from the Mariners. It's a ball and 2 strikes now to the future Texas A&M Aggie, who's 0 for 2 on the day. He's flied out to right and grounded out to third. The pitch lined into center field, caught this time. Joe Oyama showing off his range, getting over, and the side is retired. But a solo bomb from Brian Arndt puts Harwich on top. They lead it 2-1. Heading to the final third of the ball game. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. 7th inning of action, and I'll turn things back over to Wyatt Kopelman, my broadcast partner, the rest of the way on play-by-play. Wyatt.
Jack Penny, a grounder over towards the right side. The Notre Dame product tries to beat it, and he won't get there. Now 7 straight retired here for Moza out of the bullpen for Harwich, making his debut out of Alabama. I was just about to say that Jack Penny, the #1 shortstop coming out of Massachusetts, he actually dislocated his shoulder late in the season and missed the ACC tournament. Notre Dame finished 4th in the ACC Atlantic Division in its first year without Link Jarrett. Took off for Florida State. So Penny grounds out here, and that sets up Olmstead as he got called on the bunt attempt for a strike.
How about Moza coming in? He's faced 7 batters, and they've all been retired. Really nice debut for him in the Cape Cod Baseball League.
He works quickly. He deals a swinging strike there to Olmstead. Yeah, seriously. I think he might be outpacing Clark on the mound here.
I mean, yeah.
The left-hander for Orleans. Gosh.
A couple gunslingers.
Swing and a miss. 3 pitches, a strikeout for Moza. It's the 10th strikeout here for Harwich pitching as Moza picks up his 4th strikeout. And gosh, he's blazing home.
He does not waste a second out there. All business, just firing away, and he's just been so efficient. Really nice start for him today.
Already 2 away here in the 7th. 2-1 lead for the Mariners after a solo blast from Brian Arndt, the UNC Wilmington product, hitting Harwich's 5th on the season. Shot out towards left field. Moving in, Kennedy Jones, as former UNC Greensboro product, makes the catch. A strikeout, a ground out, and a fly out as Moza sends them down in order for a 2nd consecutive inning. 2-1, the Mariners lead going into the home half of the 7th. It's time to stretch here at Whitehouse Field. We're coming back at you here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Down in order go the Firebirds to close up the top of the 7th here from Whitehouse Field. A 2-1 lead for the Harwich Mariners over the Orleans Firebirds. So it's over to the top of the order in Jacob Humphrey, Devin Obie, and Hunter Fitzgerald here. 4th time up here today. Humphrey on the day, grounded out to short back in the 1st, flied out to left in the 3rd, and reached on a 1-out walk back in the 5th, came around to score. Skied out towards center on the 1st pitch. Jake Casey, pinch hitting back in the early frames. He makes the catch, and there's one away here.
Derek Clark's night is over. He goes 2 complete innings, surrenders 2 earned runs, 3 hits, a walk, and a strikeout. New pitcher we are still working on. He is the incognito man for right now, not showing up on Point Streak or on the roster sheet, so we will get back to you on who it is, but the mystery man for right now. That's the thing about, sorry to cut you off, Wyatt, but that's the thing about the Cape League. With all the turnover, all the roster turnover, everybody going in and out, going to new schools, inning counts, sometimes you lose track of who's who.
Or you lose track of the laundry as well. Looped foul. You remember that happened to Kalen Culpepper in Harwich's first road game on the season. He was wearing 18 as opposed to 31.
Yep.
And that's what had people off guard a little bit. I don't know what's the case here either way. There's one away. Obi has to protect here. Outside.
What a game Obi's had, though, thus far. A walk and a pair of singles. Been on base 3 times, really producing at the top of the order.
Swing and a miss. A foul tip into the glove of the catcher, Hunter. And there are 2 away here. Orleans has a chance to retire 3 straight and close out the 7th as Harwich did to start off the frame. So it's over to Hunter Fitzgerald after the 6th strikeout issued. Still no word on the new right-hander on the mound for Orleans. Hearing we may not get him. Fitzgerald watches it low. I'd have to think it might not be John Doe. A 2-1 lead for the Mariners here in the bottom of the 7th. Swing and a miss.
You got a character as a PA announcer. Joe Malkin, ladies and gentlemen.
What are some other common American names that you can imagine?
John Smith.
John Smith is one. I'd have to think Matthew Kachuk's not one.
Yeah, that was
1-2. Swing and a miss. Fitzgerald goes down on strikes for the 2nd time tonight as he falls to 1 for 4. It's the 7th strikeout from Orleans pitching. And ever since Clark has come out of the game, it's been smooth sailing for the new incognito pitcher on the mound here for Orleans. 2-1 lead. Going into the 8th inning here at Whitehouse Field, the Mariners looking to go 8-3 to start their 2023 season. 2 innings to go for Harwich. We'll be back on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. On to the 8th inning here from Whitehouse Field. Mariners ahead of the Orleans Firebirds 2-1, their 3rd season meeting thus far. Mariners taking it 10-3 and 12-2 the first times at Eldridge Park. Well, it's still Moza on the mound, the Alabama product, shining in his season debut. And we finally have word on who's the 2nd reliever out of the Orleans bullpen. That one's taken for a strike here.
Yeah, I'm out of breath after figuring that one out.
Sam?
Run over and solicit.
So he's facing Jake Casey here. Swings and misses on a spiker in the dirt. Arndt down to first. And it's the 11th strikeout here for Harwich pitching. It's Sam Hiboki, the Vanderbilt product, native of Los Angeles, just played for Tim Corbin as he's gone now 21 years in that head coaching role at Vanderbilt. Corbin saying that Sam hits every measure as a leader, completely selfless, invests in the group. Actually had an arm injury back in 2021, so he's not in his first round trip or his first round with the Vanderbilt Commodores of the SEC. Is Owen Carpolotti steps in here, another catcher for the Orleans Firebirds. So he replaces Henry Hunter after a strikeout to start off the 8th inning here. That one all the way to the backstop. Henry Hunter closing out at 0 for 2 in the 9-hole for Kelly Nicholson. Struck out swinging the 3rd and the 5th. Was part of a sizzling start out of Andrew Armstrong. 6 strikeouts in his second starting nod on the year. As Moza misses high that time. So 1 and 2 here. 1 away, 2-1 lead for the Mariners. And the 1-2. Shot down the right field line and just foul. A little bit early that time. Carapolati goes by the nickname of Carp, we've heard in our first trips to Eldridge Park. It's a good nickname. Two for 17 on the year. He'll stay alive in this at-bat.
Oh, man.
2-2. Swing and a miss. The drop third strike. Arndt, the throw down to first. And it's in time. 2 strikeouts, 2 up, 2 down here in the 8th. Cruising away, Moza, the Alabama product, certainly bringing some heat.
That is the 6th strikeout he's had in just 11 batters he's faced. No one has reached on him thus far. He is in cruise control through 3 2/3 on the mound. 11 up, 11 down, 6 by way of the K. A great performance out of him thus far.
Carpolotti strikes out. The Firebirds looking for their first base runner since the 4th inning. They had a 1-out walk after back-to-back extra base hits to center field. Bunt attempt, and it's just brushing him off a little bit that time in Oyama.
A little bit.
A little bit.
He was splatted all over the right-hand side, but yeah. That one ran just a little inside, and I think he was showing bunt, and it really spooked him.
Oyama just 5'7", 170, rising senior, native of Okinawa, Japan. As Devin said, the Hawaii of Japan. One for 3 here today after leading off with an infield single to third. 3-0. A strike, and the at-bat stays alive here as Moza was on the verge of allowing his first base runner here in his season debut. 3-1. Popped foul. Just joining us late, the Mariners looking to Andrew Armstrong for 4 innings of 1-run baseball, 6 strikeouts and a walk. 4 hits, 2 of them back in the 4th, and those were the recent and the most recent Firebirds' 2 hits. Payoff pitch. Served into center field, and it's dropping quickly in front of Obi as it gets by him, and Oyama speeding around to second. He's going to be past second and chugging off for third. Oyama down into third diving, and he's safe. How about the speed of Joe Oyama? He picks up his 2nd hit of the day and the first since the 4th inning, and just like that, the Firebirds have a runner in scoring position and just 90 feet away is a tying run.
Don't get me wrong, I love the effort from Obi there, but at the same time, you got to think of the situation and what makes the most sense. I'm not sure he really had a play at that ball, but gave it a go and was unable to knock it down. So considering it gets by him, it leaves the door open for plenty of bases. Luckily, no one on, but now the tying run 90 feet away. If he's able to just knock that down, there's a runner on first instead of on third. So unfortunately, took the big risk, and I think there was a low probability of a catch there. So tough break for the Mariners.
Broken bat, right back up at Moza. Underhands over to first to close out the side. So a 2-out extra base hit for Joe Oyama goes wasted as the Mariners force the Orleans Firebirds into no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and leaving 1 stranded. The tying run left aboard here in the 8th inning. The Firebirds starting to run out of chances here late at Whitehouse Field. 2-1 lead for the Mariners going into the 9th, rather in the bottom of the 8th, here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Mariners trying for insurance runs here. Kennedy Jones, Lorenzo Carrier, Matt Scannell due up with Harwich ahead 2-1 over Orleans here. Sam Hilboki back on the mound here. Second inning after retiring the side in order. Kennedy Jones, meanwhile, 0 for 3. Quickly heading the count here. So Owen Carapalati staying in as a defensive replacement for Henry Hunter. He struck out swinging back in the 8th as the pinch hitter for Hunter. Swing and a miss that time from Jones. Grounded out, flied out, and popped out today. Jones transferring away from UNC Greensboro. Chance to get on here. Mariners getting 1 run back in the 5th and a solo home run in the 6th. And that's how they've taken the lead. The Mariners rarely have not scored in early innings this year, as that one's fouled away.
Moving right along in this ball game, just 8:20, an hour and 50 minutes in, and this could be the Mariners' last at bat, which is crazy considering they've been playing at a 3-hour rate per se.
Payoff pitch, a swing and a miss. Jones strikes out for the first time here today after going 2 for 3 with a pair of walks in that 5-4 win against Chatham 2 nights ago. The Mariners have not looked to him for hitting thus far, and they go to Lorenzo Carrier after he doubled back in the 2nd.
Some finals around the league could do it. Tops Falmouth 12-1 to get back in the win column. YD defeats Brewster 2-0, so they will take control of first place with 15 points. Granted, they've played an extra game than Harwich. Harwich with 14 points, and if they can get the win here and close out Orleans, they'll be back in front.
Here's Lorenzo Carrier. Ahead 2-0 in the count, similarly to Jones. Mariners had stranded 5 going into the 5th inning. Finally were able to cash in the 5th and the 6th. 2-0 inside. Now, Carrier will likely not get the green light here despite how strong he's been hitting. He does not, and he takes it on the outer half. It goes to 3-1. He's hitting 3 for 13 through his first 3 games with the Mariners. He amassed 1 hit in that 5-4 home win against Chatham. 3-1. Grounded to the left side. Opportunity for 2. Instead, it's Penny over to first, and it's in time. Carrier had some speed going down to first there, Devin, but despite there being a little bit of conundrum on the left side, Carrier unable to make it out.
That was a really nice play by Jack Penny to have the awareness to cut that ball off before it got to Andy Blake at shortstop, because Blake would not have had a play over at first base. So really nice job that time by Penny to get it over. Is Nicholson going to make a move for one batter just for Scannell?
Kelly Nicholson has removed the baseball from Hoboki of Vanderbilt. So he comes in and he goes 1 2/3. He retires all 5 he faced as the Mariners are ahead 2-1 at the 2-out mark here of the 8th. They're trying to add insurance runs. 5 hits apiece here at Whitehouse Field. Mariners and Firebirds, we're coming back on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. New pitcher into the game for Orleans, the left-hander in Riley Frey of University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. He faces Matt Scannell with 2 away here in the 8th. Frey out of Milwaukee, an 11-18 team this year in conference play in the Horizon League, as Scannell is ahead 2-0 here. A Milwaukee team that finished 22-32, 5th in the Horizon League, a 6-team league, or conference, I should say. 2-0. Spiked back behind home plate.
Not exactly sure why the pitching change. 5 up, 5 down for Sam Hiboki, and you just need 1 out to get out of the inning, and then you go to the bats. But Kelly Nicholson pulling the trigger brings in Frey.
Hiboki, the Vanderbilt product, goes 1 2/3 innings, 3 strikeouts, no walks, no hits, no earned runs. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Scannell goes down on strikes, the 9th strikeout for Orleans here tonight, as both teams have combined for 21 punch-outs between their pitching staffs. A 2-1 lead for the Mariners going into the top of the 9th. They do not get any insurance runs. We'll be back in a moment here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Ninth inning, we go here. The Mariners ahead 2-1. Trying to hang on here against an Orleans team that has won 3 straight. The Mariners with 4 consecutive. And now, Devin, the Mariners will leave Moza out there. The Alabama product has been sensational thus far, despite giving up that 2-out triple to Joe Oyama in the start of last inning. And to see what continuity he can develop here can only be incremental if he's able to retire 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, he's faced just 1 more than the minimum. He's been lights out. I mean, could cement himself with the victory here. Just needs these 3 outs. Going to be a tough part of the order to go through. 3, 4, 5 for the Firebirds, but we'll see if he's up to the task. This is his biggest test thus far.
So we'll first face Eddie Micheletti Jr. 1 for 3 here today with a double, an RBI double for that matter, back in the 4th to get the Firebirds on the board as he ropes it down the right field line, but it goes foul. Couple of Firebirds pitchers in the bullpen were quick off the bench to make that one. So it's going to be 1-1 here to the George Washington product. Misses way low that time.
Yeah, ugh. That can't feel good. Got a piece of the umpire afterwards.
Moza, up until this point, has gone 4 innings, all scoreless, 6 strikeouts through 13 faces. He's been quite efficient. Rolled over to the right side and threw for a base hit in the right field. Had about seeing eye single written all over it as Orleans gets another base hit on the afternoon. That's its 6th.
No one throwing in the bullpen for Harwich. They are leaving this to Moza. Looks like they might get someone up stretching and tossing, but yeah, it is going to be a real test with the leadoff runner on. We'll see if Kelly Nicholson decides to be aggressive, and there is going to be a pinch runner.
That's Drew Farreau, who has faced Harwich already once this season. So still none outs here, or no outs for Andy Blake. 0 for 3 here today. Struck out looking back in the 6th. He swings through there for strike number 1. All right, Devin, so let's consider righties, lefties available here for an Orleans lineup that has shown righties for the most part here today. You have Shea Sprague, who has not pitched in nearly a week, if not more. Just threw Chris Latito 2 nights ago. 0-1 is flared out towards right field. Carrier has it, and there's one away. You have Shea Sprague, who has not pitched, I believe, since Yarmouth Dennis, in which the Mariners allowed 4 runs in the 9th before this 4-game win streak. Had a couple of other Alabama products slated to get here to Harwich, but have not arrived thus far. It's only been Moza on the mound, and is the only Alabama Crimson Tide pitcher.
Looks like Will Pearson getting loose in the pen for Harwich.
Lofted foul. That's another possibility. Chandler Marshall also hasn't really pitched in a few days.
Yeah, the last game he came in was against YD, and that was the game in which he surrendered 4 runs in the 9th.
Also to mention, Gabe Van Emmen, the Connecticut product, has been activated for a couple of days now. He has yet to make a debut. Transfer from Endicott, slated to go to Connecticut this coming season. Lexington, Massachusetts native. Jack Penny here. Grounds it through the left side for a base hit. That'll send Micheletti, rather the pinch runner from Central Florida in, and Farrow will be in scoring position as there are 2 on here with 1 away. So that's going to set up Johnny Olmstead here. And Devin, you notice how Orleans has been able to power it towards the wall, but this time just getting a couple of singles to the right and left sides. And that's putting pressure here on Moza as he works out of the stretch.
And yeah, this is a very extended outing for him. He's already gone 4 full, and he's been fantastic. Asking a lot for him to go 5. Does have the 1 out here, but now the tying runner in scoring position has speed. You got to be really careful against Olmstead. He's already had a single today, also a pair of strikeouts. We'll see. Looks like Pearson's been warming up for about 3-4 minutes, so he probably needs a little longer. Wouldn't be surprised if we get a mound visit from Coach Englert or the pitching coach just to buy him some time if Moza gets out of hand here.
Brian Zeldin did pitch a couple of nights ago. Good block that time by Brian Arndt. So it's Farrow on second after a single to right from Micheletti Jr. to lead off the 9th. And Jack Penny with a 1-out base hit to left has pressure on here. Brian Zeldin did only pitch a couple of nights ago. Probably wouldn't be slated here. Take an eye, it's 2-0. Xavier Martinez pitched 3 nights ago, if my memory serves correct, Evan.
I think Katuitt, if I'm not mistaken.
Katuitt. And that was after the Mariners left Orleans. So he might be on optimal rest. Now it's 2-1 here to Olmstead. 1 for 3 on the evening after a single to short back in the second to get going. And he struck out swinging ever since. The 2-1. Lined over towards the left side. Lavari to second for 1. The throw on to first. It's high, and it's not in time. Fielder's choice as Farrow moves up to third, and Penny is gone at second as Olmstead reaches safely. And there are 2 away. Moza needs 1 more here as the Mariners cling on to a 2-1 lead.
That'll bring out the pitching coach. But yeah, you cut the tension with a knife as another barn burner. Reminds me of that game against the Falmouth Commodores, the only loss here at Whitehouse. That was a 2-1 loss. And yeah, the walk-off was fun last night, but they also surrendered a 3-run lead in the late innings. You do not want to do that here tonight. This has been the fastest game thus far for the Mariners. Exactly 2 hours since first pitch right to this moment right now. You'd love to just wrap it up, send everybody home with a win before that it gets a little cold here at Whitehouse.
R.J. Thomas, the head coach at Hendrix College and the pitching coach for the Mariners, having a word with Moza to go over approach here. And with runners on the corners, if you're Orleans, you're certainly looking to take anything you go for here as you move from station to station and try and tie, if not take your second lead of the ball game. RBI double from Eddie Micheletti Jr., lifting the Firebirds ahead 1-0 in the 4th. First one goes low to Jake Hyde here, the designated hitter. 0 for 3 here tonight. Hyde, the utility man of Georgetown, watches one outside. Hit .320 this season for the Hoyas. His dad, Jake, pitched at Georgetown from 1989 to 1993. Wonder if he is watching here. 2-0 is high. Moza losing control here as he's on the verge of loading the bases. As the Orleans Firebirds dugout is loving it right now.
Yeah, dangerous spot to be in. Jake Casey awaiting on deck.
Runners on the corners, 2 away. Taken for a strike on a fastball. 3-1 here to Jake Hyde. So he didn't get the green light. We'll see if he will be aggressive here with the middle of the infield relatively open. Swing and a miss that time. And that looked to be more than an RBI single hit, Devin.
Yeah, here we go. Fans starting to come to life here. Cheers for Moza. Big pitch.
3-2. Grounded over towards the right side. Scannell takes it himself to the bag, and that's the ball game. The Harwich Mariners take it in nail-biting fashion, 2-1. They stay on top of the Cape Cod East standings, and their winning streak extends to 5 past the 10-game mark of the season.
What a ball game. What a win for Harwich. Just stuck to their MO of good pitching and just enough offense to squeak by here. Huge shout out to Brian Arndt. That solo shot a bomb way out there and left. That was the difference maker. And the reason why Mariners are not coming up in the 9th. Really good, solid team win. 5 in a row. They are hot here in Harwich.
So despite the Orleans Firebirds threatening with runners on the corners and a game-winning run at first, Moza gets out of a jam as he picks up the save in his debut. The Alabama product gives the Mariners a jolt late despite a threat from the Firebirds. A 2-1 win for the Mariners as they move to 5-1 at Whitehouse Field this season. We'll step aside for a moment. We're coming back at you here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Well, a 2-1 win for the Harwich Mariners against the Orleans Firebirds. Harwich moves to 3-0 against the Firebirds this season. Wyatt Kopelman and Devin Dobeck here with you from the Al Graber press box at Whitehouse Field. Devin, quite the thriller. Aiden Moza picks up the win in his season debut from Alabama with 5 innings pitched.
He was sensational. I mean, anytime you can come into a ball game and do what he did your first time in the Cape Cod Baseball League, that's sensational. He went 5 complete innings, allowed just 3 hits, and he was just fantastic. I mean, you really can't complain with what he did. 6 strikeouts, didn't walk anybody. His control was there. Ran into a jam in the 9th, was able to pitch his way out of it. All positives, all signs of life for the Harwich pitching staff.
Mariners did not get the insurance runs they needed going down in order in the bottom of the 8th inning, but it didn't matter. A solo home run from Brian Arndt, the UNC Wilmington Seahawk, marking the game-winning run, and Brian Arndt getting that jolt with that first extra base hit.
And how much have we talked about how clutch he's been in his situational hitting and his timeliness? That's a perfect example of that. Exhibit A, a blast to left field, gives his team the lead, and eventually the win. Really clutch piece of hitting. Got to feel good for him to get that monkey off his back of the home run. 5th one for the Mariners this season, and very timely. Gives them the 2-1 win.
Aiden Moza picks up the win as the Mariners and the Firebirds struck out for a combined 22 times here tonight. You consider the implications as both ball clubs know they have to cut down on that going forward.
Yes, absolutely, but this was a pitching duel. You can't say it any better. Derek Clark just an off night, but other than that, everyone else was locked in, and that's what it came down to at the end of the day. 2 teams coming in hot. Firebirds on a 3-game win streak, Harwich on a 4-game winning streak. So you're going to get a low-scoring game, 2 competitive ball clubs, and unfortunately for Orleans, Harwich comes out on top. Really good win for them in front of the home crowd. Harwich
moves to 5 straight victories and now 8-3 on the season. They sit atop of the Cape Cod East Division standings against a Cotuit team that you look at the start of this winning streak where the Mariners took that win against the Orleans Firebirds and moved right through. The Mariners, meanwhile, dominating at home during this 4-game homestand.
Absolutely. I mean, they've improved the record 8-3. They've really got something going. They'll be back at it here tomorrow night, and it should be a good one. First Responders Night was tonight. Glad they were able to get the win for those people. That was a really cool ceremony at the beginning of the game. But, yeah, nonetheless, it's been fun to be a Mariners fan as of lately. Really been enjoying it.
Mariners now 8-3 on the season. Meanwhile, Orleans, Devin, straining just 6 on. You said it. It was a pitcher's duel, and it was certainly a barn burner going down the stretch to carry into YD tomorrow at home.
Yes, and I'm sure we'll see something more like that. I would imagine it would be Sprague on the mound tomorrow. We'll have to confirm that, but that would make the most sense. I'm pretty sure he went actually in the last YD game, made the start there, so he'll get his second shot against the Red Sox. But they're a competitive ball club. They fight to the very end. I mean, as we know, they scored 4 runs in the 9th inning against Harwich. These are 2 teams that always will go head-to-head, and 1-1 on the season. So against the Red Sox, that is. So it should be a really good rubber match for the time being tomorrow night.
Well, a 2-1 victory for the Harwich Mariners. They win their 5th straight game here in a ball game that lasted 2 hours and 2 minutes. Not a sold-out crowd here at Whitehouse Field, but to consider what the Mariners did get, they looked to maybe Shea Sprague to go here tonight. Instead, they went to Aiden Moza in his debut here on the season. He picks up the win. Dylan Clark, the loss. No save opportunity for the Mariners after a solo home run to lift the Mariners ahead 2-1 and 2-1 for good here at Whitehouse Field. So for our producer, Sean Sears, guiding us through the night here at Whitehouse Field, the Mariners now 8-3 on the season. For my broadcast partner, Devin Dobeck, I'm Wyatt Kopelman saying so long. We say goodnight from the Al Graber press box at Whitehouse Field. As been watching Harwich Mariners baseball on the